I'm Rob Brosnan. I'm from Seton Hall University. So I'm going to talk today about things that we did with Facebook last year as part of our recruitment cycle and what happened on the website as a result. And so what I want to talk to you about today is our case study where we brought Facebook into the marketing mix for our class this past year. For our recruitment class, what you're seeing there in the upper left is our Facebook page for our incoming class. So that's the class of 2014. Imagine that, 2014 is when they will graduate college if they do a good job. Mm-hmm. And what happened as a result of this, we started this in February, so everything I'm going to tell you today, we just started to learn how to do from February forward. And it's like it's beginning of October. We got 18% lift in customers, so 18% more freshmen. Our biggest class in like 30 years. That's 1,300 students. This is the ultimate conversion because 1,300 students, the 18%, that's where we got to, that's $29 million in net present revenue. That's really important for us. That just doesn't happen, right? We're a nonprofit. We don't change that quickly. So how do we do this, right? Well, we've got a good product. I think we've got a product people want. They need college educations, especially now. We have a website. What I'm going to do today is show you some results of how we measure on the website and on Facebook and in those places. And really, the key to this past year was the social forum, right? A place for people to congregate. So what was this really like? Well, it's kind of like a social shopping experience in a sense, right? So college used to be about, to me, and still is, the first part of the college recruitment process, it was very Darwinian, right? It's like, are you good enough to get in? Are you fit? Do you have the right test scores? Do you have the right class rank? Are we right for you? Do we fit? So it's very Darwinian. Except what's happening now, because of this experience of just going on and talking to people, it's not even us in this case, right? They're talking to each other. What we have emerging from this is kind of group selection, right? So these groups are forming kind of in an ad hoc way, and that is becoming influential in the purchase decision, right? When they're finally thinking about what I should be doing with school, which college should I pick, they're doing it together. You know, when I went to college, you didn't know what the college experience was until the first day of classes, like when you show up on campus. You never had that experience before. Now, 9 months before you buy the product, you can have the college experience. So we all know about the social network that's out there right now that has that great line about taking the entire college experience and putting it online. That's what's happening, except for these people 9 months before they come to school, right? So they're having that product experience way in advance, and that's becoming influential in their decision to actually purchase the product. So I did a webinar on this a few months ago with our analytics provider, who's Coremetrics, and what we did was actually asked during the webinar, we had 1,300 people on the webinar, so it was a good sample size, and we asked them what they were actually measuring on Facebook, and so 10% said, well, fan page visits, then fans, website visits, and only 30%, this was interesting, only 30% were looking for sales and conversion out of this, right? But that's what's really the reason we have this page, right? I mean, it's great that we're connecting people and that we're providing this service, but if it doesn't drive this down the road, why are we doing it? And yet, this is hard to do right now, right? It's really hard to measure conversion as a result. So I want to show you how I did it, and I can tell you honestly that this is really why we should be doing this kind of thing, right? We should be in Facebook. It's not just because we had a very active Facebook population, it's because they actually did something. So what I want to talk you through, if you're not familiar with this, is there are two measurement methods in web analytics typically. Most of what we do is on this side, right? This is where Google Analytics really comes into play if you're using that, which is click-through analysis, right? It's causal. We're looking for clicks leading to filling out forms to conversion. But there's another method too, you may be using this, which is view-through analysis, right? This is a little bit more prevalent, right? Becoming prevalent now. ClickZ just did a thing on it too. But there what we're looking for is like, what if I show a banner ad to someone and they never click? Did that banner ad actually have an influence on them, right? If they saw something, did it lead to something later on? You might see an ad, get interrupted, and then come back a week later. Well, that ad still had an important effect in the marketing cycle. And so that's what we're looking for there is corroboration. If you saw something, does it have an influence on you? And this is how we do the measurement in Facebook. So let me take you through click-through analysis and what was important about that, and then the view-through analysis, which is really where the meat is. So the first thing we looked for was what was unique about the Facebook, we found that when we looked at Facebook and Twitter and some other sites like that, what was great about it for us was that it was driving a high percentage of new visitors. So we immediately got interested. And this really is what started to turn us around. Like, we weren't paying much attention to Facebook and Twitter until we saw that it was really a good source. It was almost as good as display advertising at driving first-time visitors to the website. The second thing we saw is that they're really highly engaged. And this makes a lot of sense, right? If you get a referral from a friend through Facebook or Twitter and you go check us out as a result, you're probably going to be more engaged, right? You trust that referral, so you come on the website and you actually then will engage with us deeply. And what's really important about this is we're not looking at like average session length or number of page views or something like that. We're actually looking at, do you come back over time, right? So this metric of session loyalty, what we're doing is saying, well, if we can go back 30 days from where we are today and say, what sessions on my website, what visits today could I attribute originally to Facebook at least 30 days ago, up to 30 days ago? We find that Facebook is generating 3.6 sessions for every session it brings in over time. Very important. It's bringing people back. They're also more motivated to convert than almost anything else that we're doing, even compared to paid search. Fantastic program, right? But when we bring a visitor over from Facebook, they're really more motivated to actually do something on the website, to actually take an action, which is important to the bottom line. So their sessions are more efficient. And what was interesting for us, you know, we like to aspire to be, say, a national brand in terms of universities, but most of our students really come from a very small radius. And what we were finding when we plotted out where these visitors were when they came from Facebook is that they were more local. This is kind of an interesting heat map. We don't have time to go through it, but really we were looking in terms of the colors at how engaged are they based on where they are. But more important for just this short version today is that we can plot these out on a graph like this and say distance from campus in terms of where they are when they're viewing us. And we find that they're more local than anything else. You can see they're just more highly local on this side. So all very good characteristics for us.
Which one's Facebook?
Facebook is the red one, sorry. So now let's look at the influence that Facebook had on those visitors. Really what we're doing is we are implanting a pixel, a single pixel inside of Facebook, so when they view the wall on our main Facebook pages, that actually measures whether they saw something and then later on visited the website later. And when you take that up, you can count the number of views and see which page is kind of performing better. You get that out of Facebook Insights too if you're using that tool for analysis. But what it allows us to do when we do that is correlate the sessions that they have on our website with the views they have in Facebook. So in this particular chart, we're actually measuring the number of visits to the website on the x-axis. We're measuring the number of conversions on the y-axis. So the further you up on this diagonal you are, the better the kind of session, right? It's a converting session at that point, and that's really important. Then the bubble size is the number of views per viewer of our Facebook pages, right? So the bigger the bubble, the more views of our Facebook page you actually had. And so you can see out of this is that this green bubble, which represents our incoming class page, the 2014 page, that page is a powerhouse compared to everything else because those people who are engaging on that particular page are more motivated to convert and they're more engaged overall in Facebook. So we can see that Facebook is having this huge effect, right, in terms of what we want as a company. We want them to engage and to convert. And that's what this did. This was really, the first time we did this was in February, and we had to kind of drop everything and say what we had been thinking about Facebook was totally wrong. We've been thinking about it as a channel, right? We've been thinking of it as a way to drive visits or to drive people back to the website, and that's kind of where the first part of the analysis was headed. And when we saw this, we're like, no, really, Facebook is about building a relationship with people, and let's let them do it in Facebook, right? That's what's so great about it. And it's then if we have a good engagement with them on Facebook, they'll come on their own to the website and do something. And now this becomes the big question that we have to deal with as an organization, not just me as a marketer, right? So what I thought was going to happen is that we would use Facebook as a way to drive people to the website. That's what we would do. It would be this side. We're going to optimize this arrow, right? And what happened, more or less, was that the website ended up driving people to Facebook. Right? It was that side that was interesting. And that's a beautiful insight now going forward. I know what to do next year. But from a standpoint of the organization overall that has to deal with support costs and cultivation and everything else, which side of this question should I be optimizing? Which one is the more important one to be thinking about? Well, I want both, obviously. I want good engagement, I want high conversion. And I want it cheap, obviously. What do? Well, now we can take these social gadgets that Facebook has put out there and just embed them into the website. So we've got the fan pile, right, which is there on the right, which just shows us who else is a fan. And if your friends are fans of this organization too, you can find it. And you don't have to leave to go to Facebook. You can do recommendations with it. And sorry, it's kind of buried over here on the right. It's a little hard to see. But people can recommend it, and then that puts it back out into the social graph. You can build custom walls, right, which is really cool. So you can have Facebook-like interaction on the website. And so this starts to then lead the way, I think, and we haven't really had the chance to do it yet given the length of our cycle, but it leads the way towards where we think we can go with this insight that we got, which is we can have the best of both, right? So we can take our Facebook page and leave it there. We still need it, right? We still want people to engage inside of Facebook. But now what we can do is actually take those gadgets and embed them into the website. Now this kind of thing, it's not that simple to do, right? If I really want to do it correctly. It's not like I just go and make the Facebook page and then direct people to the website and be like, well, that's it, just go to the website. I really need a good content management system to be able to do this because I want to embed it all over the site, right? Because now what I can do is wherever I drop this, I can drive them back to the website and I can give them secondary messages on top of that. I still think, given what we learned, the primary thing is the fact that they engaged with each other. But now if I want to tell them about something else, I don't have the limitations of Facebook where I can't really put messages around the side of the page. I can't control the navigation. I can actually just embed it right there. I can leverage self-service, right? So anywhere I want to put FAQs on the website, anything else, right? Now I can embed those Facebook tools or Twitter tools, because you can do the same thing with Twitter, and I can actually get them to interact there on the website. So it's not like they're just inside of Facebook asking questions, never taking the time to look at the website. I can drive them to the website and get them to engage there without leaving. So hopefully they'll take some time and look for the question on their own. And I get better analytics. So obviously I get much better analytics. Oh, you may not see this as obvious, but I can get much better analytics if I'm getting clickstream analysis on my website, not just the impression analysis that we looked at earlier. So all of this happens, right, if I've got the right tools built into my content management system. In this case, we actually use PaperThin, and we work with them over the summer to actually rebuild all of these gadgets, the social gadgets, and embed them into the website. So it's still early for us given the cycle, but by November you'll start seeing a lot of this on our website, where we really try to get people to connect to each other, but on our website, so you can have that experience together. And so the vision of that really would look kind of like that, right? This is very simple right now, but it will be growing as we go forward, where we really just have all of those wall-like elements, the fan page elements, on our own website. We've just recreated them there. And so this gets me to the last point, which is really that, what is this doing for Seton Hall overall? It's really enabling a shift in the way that we relate to people. I mentioned group formation is a very important part of the product decision process. I think that's there for us. But more importantly, right, it's that what I always got told when I was being trained was, branding is really a promise to be fulfilled. It's not a mark, right? We don't think of the brand as a mark. We think of it as an expectation for something to be fulfilled. And guess what? You get to do that through social now. You don't just send people spec sheets, essentially. You actually build a relationship with them, let them experience who you are as a company, and make that decision on their own, trusting you at that point. And it's not just me, right? I don't know if you follow it, but Dell has done fantastic work with this. They've actually shown, I think it was about an 8% improvement in profit overall because of the way they were engaging with people through Twitter. And that's changing the perception of that company, right? They've really gone through a hard time in the last few years. It's really changing the perception of the company when they go and react to fans and build trust with them and provide customer service right then and there. I'm Rob Brosnan. I'm from Seton Hall University.